So, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm in Baig.
My son wants to sign up
Yes.
for scouts. So where he is joining? He's 15. Boys or scouts?
We will cover all that, but he would be in Boy Scouts, right?
Okay.
Okay. So I was just saying that I'm part of the scouting committee here at ICN, and the purpose of our session today is to orient the new parents and scouts that would be joining our scouting program, as well as the folks that are coming in from the pack that we have at ICN. Brother Asif Beg here, he has put together a presentation that walks you through what we are referring to as the journey of a scout. So the journey starts from when you join the program all the way through the time either you quit and move on, or you reach the goals that you've defined, which is you want to become a specific rank, etc. But all through that, of course, we want to have fun and learn, right? So I'll turn it over to Asif, and Asif can walk us through. And by the way, this is being recorded, so if you folks miss anything, you can always go back to the recording.
Yeah, and the presentation will be available on the Troop website also, and we'll talk about the Troop website in detail in this part of this presentation. So, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asif Beg. I like to say I'm affiliated with Ayman Beg, but we're not. So it would have been my honor. But so this presentation is put together for scouts and scouts parents. I'm not going to say scouts fathers because sometimes mothers are involved and they're welcome to be involved as well. So what you're seeing here is the highlighted, and the first slide is the Boy Scouts of America. For those of you that are here, you probably do know there is an organization called Boy Scouts of America. That's why we're here. That's what we operate and govern under. I'm sort of making the Cub Scout and Girl Scouts as dimmed because our focus here in this presentation is really the Boy Scouts. So, but is over there to let you know that the ICN affiliation is not only with Boy Scouts, but also with Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts as well. In the bottom, I'm doing the same thing. Cub Scouts, it provides ages for the Cub Scouts. It provides Boy Scout ages. And there's also something called Ventures and Sea Scouts. I don't think we have anything like that in ICN. But and then there's obviously volunteers and adults volunteers that are part of the all of those, right? So wanted to mention to you, I'm actually I self-nominated myself to go through this and create this presentation because I joined and there was a lot of terminology thrown in, a lot of process thrown in. There was an assumption by everybody in the adult ranks to say, when we put this out there, in a way where it can be palatable, consumed in your own pace, but give you a map of what everything is and how it's how you can locate that, right? So Boy Scouts of America, there's also something you'll hear is called a Three Fires Council. Don't get thrown off. Boy Scouts of America is the top tier organization. Then regionally there's councils, and Three Fires Council is what we're affiliated with. I think it's based out of St. Charles, if I'm not mistaken, or
yeah, that's right.
But it covers this area, right? So then we have an ICN affiliation. So I'm giving you the hierarchical nature of who we are, right? As Troop 99. So ICN affiliation, then it's the troop itself. And I'll talk about what a troop is, because that word itself is new, right? For those of you that are not Boy Scouts. So troop was chartered in 2012 and started off with, I think, approximately 8 scouts and adult volunteers. And right now, I think there's over 40. And this right now we're joining, and it's probably going to become 50 plus scouts. Okay, so that's a pretty significant responsibility for adults, scout leaders, as well as volunteers for the from the parent side. So Scouts progression through ranks proudly serves and represents the ICN community at local and state level events as well. So you'll find us, being present in city, state, and other places just to make sure that we are proactive in voicing our presence. Okay. So the next slide is really what the agenda of today's orientation is. You can call this an introduction to Boy Scouting in Troop 99. You can call this a scouting journey and a parent journey for scouts. But basically what we're going to talk about are terminologies. I'm going to lay it down to you for you as a layperson to say, what does this mean? But why Boy Scouting? Since you're already present here, I'm not going to focus on too much on the why Boy Scouting. Scouts journey and advancement. You'll hear the term advancement. We'll talk about that. Opportunities and skill development, Scouts commitment, parents commitment, what is required, and actually you can say materials, if you will, not so much what is required. The Troop 99 website, I can't overemphasize that actually site, and also the forms associated with it. Meetings and merit badges. You don't have to know what that means right now, but when you're done with this meeting, you should know what that means. More terms and what do they mean, and some of the reference material at the end, right? And so this is what we're going to go through. I wanted to actually take a moment before we go through it, just as I introduced myself, Eamon did himself, just to walk through everybody, even the Scouts as well as parents, to introduce yourself and let us know who you are. And if you're new to the Scouts, or if you're planning on joining, if you're thinking about joining, and what your status is. So we'll start with.
Sure. My name is Frank Ansari. This is my son, Iman Ansari. We're very interested in the Cub Scouts.
Okay.
So just hoping to learn more.
Okay. Excellent.
My name is Salahuddin Irfan. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum salam.
I'm here to sign up my son. He's 15. We moved here in this community last year. So ever since he's interested in joining, but we don't, since it was like middle of the year and
Sure.
we don't know anybody else settling down.
Yeah.
So now, alhamdulillah, we are in
My name is Umar Ali. I actually went last week on a camping trip. Like the jersey, got the uniform and everything. No, it was really nice. Yeah, I'm also very new to it. That was our first experience all together.
Okay.
Signed up our sons last week also.
Okay. Excellent.
I'm Mohammed Anzal. I'm already in the Boy Scout and Cub Scout, and I'm representing PAC here over this go through meeting and look at the requirements.
Yeah, so all the folks over there and here can talk to.
Yeah.
Bunias.
So the
Yeah.
league is also here to go
Yeah.
back and for the shot.
Yeah. And speak up as you're introducing yourself. And by the way, when you throw terminology that people may not know, PAC, what does that mean?
It's a Cub Scout.
Okay.
PAC 99.
So just like Troop 99 for Cub Scout, there's a PAC 99. Okay. So now you know. So this is the example of, if you're new, you'll hear terms that you're like, I wonder what he said and what it means. But this is exactly what we're going to try to decipher in this meeting. Okay. All right. You guys can talk. Tell us your name. Speak up. I can't hear you. I say you need to speak up. That's okay. We're all right. Good. Excellent. Thank you, Mark.
Give me the chance to
Oh yes, talk. Tell us. Look at us and talk to us about it.
My name is Kasha Khan. I'm a ninth grader at Mateo.
Awesome. Thank you. And what about you, Iman? Good.
Which grade you are in?
Third grade. Okay. Walaikum assalam. Awesome. Thank you. Walaikum assalam.
Good job.
MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Muhammad Azim Al-Din. I've been in the community for a while, and we never got it. We wanted to try out
Sure.
the Cubs, and we're new, very new into this. He's 10 and 9, and we're hoping to join. I think we're going to fit in the Cubs.
Yeah.
In the Cubs territory. So
Yeah.
basically new in if you have any guidance on
Absolutely. This is why we're here.
how to get started.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum assalam.
Yeah, sometimes.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Shafiq Abu Bakr, and I'm representing the PAC 99, which is the Cub Scout wing of ICN Scouting.
Yeah.
And just to give you a background of Cub Scouting, which I may take 2 minutes.
Yes.
We started 3 years back, the Cub Scout group at ICN, and we started with 9 kids, if I remember correctly. Alhamdulillah, we are at 47 right now. The way we are growing, we do have limitations on taking kids, but there are, we call dens, like every grade you can name it as den. So first graders we call tiger den, second graders wolf den, like that. So we do have some openings in some of these, and we can talk about it after this meeting. This meeting is more about like scouting, boy scouting, or Troop 99. Later after this, we can talk about that. There are openings, but we do have some limitations as well. So I just wanted to bring that up front.
Okay. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nadeem Iftikhar, and I've been part of the scouting for almost a year now. I have two boys. They are part of the Boy Scouts, Hadi and Haris.
Okay, again, my name is Asif Beg. I have two sons, Ahmed and Zaid Beg, and they are part of the Boy Scouts.
I'm Ayman Beg, and I have two sons as well. I've been part of this program for the past 3 years. My sons, one is 14, the other is 12.
I'm Harun Shah. Sundays are my days of rest. But I have a son, Ramiz, who's very, very keen on joining the Boy Scout. So he's dragged me into it, and as a parent, I feel like I need to be part of it. And hopefully I can contribute to this Troop 99.
Absolutely. We're going to make sure you do, Huddle.
Lucky to have you.
So your Sunday days, rest days are gone.
Well, I'm gonna still
It's
squeeze
it's a different kind of rest.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Shaji Ahmed and I am part of the Cub Scouts group in PAC 99. I've been part of that group since its inception, so for about 3 years now with Brother Shafiq. Alhamdulillah, we've seen double-digit growth in the organization. We're looking forward to adding new members to it. And we definitely need leaders in the fathers area as well, or the mothers. That's something we started last year where we're asking for mothers to get involved as well. The Cub Scout organization is not restricted as far as which parent needs to be involved, but which parent needs to be involved. So if you know of any single mothers or single fathers out there, this is a great opportunity for them to connect with the mother and connect with their boys of their own age, and inshallah grow our community to be stronger and more independent.
Shaji, thank you for that inspirational note. We're going to continue on with our presentation. So terms to know. This is not by any means an exhaustive list of terms to know. I'm just pointing these things out because you'll start hearing these terms and you won't know what that means. But I want to break that down in layman's terms to say, what are these guys talking about whenever they mention these things? So Boy Scouts Association, BSA, a lot of three-letter acronyms will be used in this. So just don't get intimidated by that. Ask the person who's using it to say, what is that? And they'll tell you what that means. So BSA is the same thing as Boy Scouts of Association of America, okay? And it's really the overall governing organization that we're affiliated with. So I'm not going to read through. This is not a slide that you guys should be reading through. Just listen to me and I'll tell you what the focus is of the slide. ICN Scouting Committee. There is a committee that is affiliated with ICN and it sits within the ICN and talks about what are we doing for scouting. Last night in the benefit dinner, you heard and you saw the pictures of scouting and Cubs, Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts and what they were doing. So this is really the affiliation with the ICN connection, right? And so a lot of people assume that this is part of ICN and it mandates some sort of a Boy Scout. That's not the case. I want to make sure that we understand that because there's some confusion. So troop, what is a troop? Troop is just a name for a Boy Scout group that you can independently charter and actually affiliated with, in this case, ICN, and also tied to the Three Fires Council, right? So similarly, the Cub Scout has similar, right? They call it a pack, right? So, and then they have dens. We have patrols, the next word. Patrol, same, it just means a smaller group of the troop. And they have patrol leaders, assistant patrol leaders, and so on, right? So engagement, when you'll hear the term engagement, it's a fancy way of saying being involved. That's all it means, okay? And we'll talk about how to do that for Boy Scouts, parents, and the Scouts themselves. Advancement, right? So advancement term is just like another fancy way of saying progression through the ranks of a Scout or a Cub, right? So basically what I'm going to talk about is what does advancement mean? How do you do it? And all that stuff, right? So basically, that's what it is, right?
Just one last question. ICN Scouting Committee?
Yes.
Who is the lead for that? Because I've been here some time, I have no clue basically.
He left. Let's go.
Okay. Brother Ayman is the chair for that. Okay. And quite a few people are in
Okay.
the committee.
Yeah.
So Ayman is just one,
Yes.
one count as long as we know.
Yeah,
one person.
and Eamon wants himself to be replaced. So anybody that wants to volunteer for that. Eamon, you left at the opportune time. And the question was ICN Scouting Committee. Who are those people? We said Eamon is the person that coordinates pretty much everything. And I also mentioned that Eamon wants to be replaced and he was really looking for people to step up and take that role. Okay.
Can you explain what you said, the Three Fire Council, what is that?
So Three Fire Council is just a regional affiliation to the Boy Scout Association. So we have to, it's like a trail that leads up to the Boy Scouts. Three Fire Council, ICN Troop 99. Okay, makes sense? And you'll get emails from Three Fire Council. Don't get confused. All that means is there's a broader agenda. They have some things going on that they want all the different troops to be part of a communication. That's all it means, okay? And if you don't know what they're talking about, if there's some training, seminar, they're just giving you one-way information, just read it. If you have questions, ask any adult Boy Scout troop, okay?
You know, one more thing in terms of the hierarchy of scouting. So you've got BSA, and then you've got various districts, and as part of each district, there are multiple councils. And we are associated with the Three Fires Council. Our district is the Indian Prairie District. And the reason we have a council that we are affiliated with is because they are our go-to people when we want anything done. Like if we wanted to understand specifics about a policy that Boy Scouts has. So we would go to them. And then also in terms of coordinating camp out events, they help us with that as well, training needs. And then also our main liaison is part of the council.
Yeah, so another way of looking at it, BSA is this something up in the sky you can't touch and poke that person. Three Fires Council, we know the people. They actually visit our mosque, and we know the people name by names, and Eamon and everybody else, right? So next slide, why Boy Scouting? So I'm not going to focus here too much because we are sitting in this room because you chose to know more about Boy Scouting and the benefits. But to point out some of the unique things that we are talking about is really the Boy Scouting and if I can have Eamon stand up and demonstrate something for me. What you're seeing Eamon wearing is a brown Boy Scouting shirt. It's part of the uniform, right? And it has patches on the side, on the sleeve, right? So I want to tell you about a little bit more about symbolic meaning. It's the fluffy stuff I'm going to talk about, but the patches on the side is exposed to the outside world to say, here's what I am and here's what I do, right? Similar to Boy Scout. Boy Scout is exposed to the world to say, here's who I am, here's what my character is, and here's what I value, right? Internally, in the front, you'll also have patches. Same concept. A Boy Scout is having those patches on his chest on either side to say, these adult troops that actually are guiding me and leading me are developing who I am. And on the side, I'm showing that development to the outside world. So think about that as a uniform. There's a symbolic meaning for what that is. And every scout should take away a unique experience from Boy Scouting. It does not mean just because you're a Boy Scout that you're trying to be uniform. Your uniform needs to be the same as the other person. You can be interested in totally different things and have different patches and different sort of colors and schemes because that's what you're interested in. And the Boy Scout gives you that opportunity to do that, right? It's not a military sort of a regimental society. It's really about what you want to do, and Boy Scouts provides the framework to be able to do that, right? So this slide is really what I just told you. That's what it's saying. Unique experiences, all shapes and varieties of colors and forms and personalities and skills. So I know for a fact, for example, Harun's son, my son, very different people, very different kids. His interests are going to be different than my son's interests, right? So same concept. It is all about, but I want to make sure to emphasize one thing. It is up to the scout to take away those experiences and leverage the adults as they guide and lead them through this troop, right? So it is up to the scout. They have to be proactive. And as a parent, you have to ask them saying, okay, what is this week's agenda and what did you learn, right? There has to be something that they can tell you and share with you, because it's not one thing I'll be very upfront and very frank about. This is not for parents to have so they can go shopping and drop their kids off. This is not that organization. If you believe that that's how you're gonna behave, then do not sign up your sons for Boy Scouting. You have to be involved and have your boy to be involved also. I'm gonna talk about that again because that is one of the things that really bothers some of the adults. So again, character development, all Boy Scouts, because they all strive towards the same three aims: character development, citizenship training, and physical and mental fitness. We'll talk about how do we achieve all those. Life's journey. So I'm going to talk about a little bit more philosophical way of thinking. As a Muslim youth, what is our life's journey? Our life's journey is to end up in the day of judgment, in the akhirah, to say we did what we could the best way we could do it, and we had guidance from our prophet, peace be upon him, as well as our parents and our community to be able to do those things. That's part of the life journey. Boy Scouts, all it does, it enables and sort of magnifies the way that we can get that journey accomplished in a little bit more structured way. It provides the guidance for tolerance, justice, peace, and progress. We take our prophet, peace be upon him, and his actions and combine that with the scouting values and methods, and the outcome is really, we're hoping and expecting, the character and leadership of the scout. And that's where the affiliation of our ICN mosque and what we value as Muslims really come in play. Right.
And I just wanted to sort of add one point. The earlier slide that Asif was talking about, where he was talking about the different patches, there are very specific patches if your kids are interested in getting some Islamic patches. The Boy Scouts of America has approved some Islamic patches as well, so you folks want to pursue that.
Okay. So what is a Boy Scout journey? I talked about a life journey for all of us, right? The Boy Scout journey. So everything that your scout is going to do towards progression of advancement, what I'm showing you is what they were going to be doing. So this is all in their handbook. This is not a secret or a handshake of some sort. Basically, it is Scout badge, Tenderfoot, second class, first class, Star, Life, and Eagle. Every Boy Scout that enters the Scout aspires to be an Eagle Scout. It is a very honorable rank to achieve as a Boy Scout. A lot of senior leaders in our community, government, and people that you may know went through these ranks and became Eagle Scouts before they actually became who they were. So striving towards Eagle Scout is really the Boy Scout journey. And everything that we're going to talk about, almost everything we're going to talk about, gives you an explanation of how you achieve that advancement, right?
And it's a great thing also to, just to add to the end goal of getting an Eagle Scout. It's great for the kids to have that just because it helps them develop their character and leadership skills. But then also when you apply for colleges, it's looked at very positively.
And it's only limited to the kids, or parents can do that too?
No, Scouts.
Unless you want to become
I think
scout.
you have to be at that age
Age
range.
range.
Age range. How do I do that?
It's
You
late.
have to wait for next slide.
That train has left the station.
I have some tips, we'll talk about it.
All right, getting back to the focus of opportunities in this journey, right? So we talked about the character, the leadership. There's a brotherhood that the boys will have with their community, with their friends, that they would hopefully, if they're part of the scout, the friends that they have in the community, they will ask them to be part of the scout as well. So there's a brotherhood bond that is created, and hopefully that stays with them until they're adults, right? So inshallah. And so that's one of the things that is very important for me, for my sons, because then there's an indirect link to ICN, them being good Muslims and expecting that there is expectations from the community as well as their brothers to do the right thing, right? And so and then obviously the byproduct of the positive contributions, the personal qualities that they will build themselves, and maybe they have an influence, hopefully they have an influence to their family and friends and the community and the country. So it's a big sort of ask, but this is where it starts, right? So, and lastly, but the most importantly, is all these teachings and events and values are strongly influenced by the divine guidance of our faith itself, right? So we are Muslims at the end of the day, and is also exemplified by our beloved prophet, peace be upon him. Okay, imagine the outcome. So I'm going to ask there's going to be an interaction with me a little bit more. So raise your hand if you would like some of the words that are going to pop up on the screen to be described and associated with your offspring or child or son, right? So in this case, how many people would say this is what they want their sons to be associated with, right? Raise your hand high, because you should be proud of that, right? So I'm going to just go through some of these things. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. This is not an accident. This list is actually the Boy Scout law, right? So what it's saying is, this is why should you be involved in Boy Scout? Because this is what their law is. This is what they're focused on in their Boy Scout tenure. Okay, these 12 words are memorized, if I'm not mistaken, by all the Boy Scouts, and they they pass on these words every single time they meet. So they remind themselves that this is what we're trying to achieve. Okay. Troop 99 Scout commitment. Now I'm going to get a little bit more specific to say what is the Scout commitment, and later on we'll talk about the parent commitment. So first and foremost, I will tell you my pet peeve. There's a flag ceremony that marks the start of the Scout meeting every single Sunday at 11:30. I will tell you, not everybody shows up on time. And it is discounted as something that, oh, we made it, so that should count. No, right? So set an example, and Scouts, if you're here, force your parents, or nicely force your parents to set that example for you, right? Encourage them to make it early, not late, right? So that is, to me, that is disrespect to the Scouting organization and the Troop 99 if you cannot make it on time, right? There are exceptions, obviously, but I just want to make sure attendance is very crucial for Scouts. So every week, 11:30, they meet until 1 o'clock, and they do Scouting activities. They're led by adults and their Scout leader and their troop leader. Engagement, know your Scouting, KYS. So I will talk about what that means. It's my terminology that I just created in a 3-letter acronym. So know your Scouting. So that means is by being proactive and inquisitive. So what that means is have a natural curiosity about what's going on. Why am I sitting here talking about this subject? Think about it and ask questions, right? Don't go sleepwalk through this whole process, because that's not going to take the best advantage out of this whole tenure. Advancement. We'll talk about advancement. What does that mean? How do you do it? Do they get to the next rank? The website. I can't overemphasize what the website is, even though it's not a pretty site, but I'll show you the site and I'll emphasize some of the major things in that site. Communication. You'll get communication through emails and through Google groups, and it's all out there. It is your responsibility that if you do not understand what is being asked or said, that you ask the question back to saying, I don't understand what you just told me, right? Do not wait for the action day to say, oh, I know that you told me 10 days ago that I'm supposed to do something by today, but I don't have a login, or I don't have this, right? Because what that shows is that you were not prepared and you're not putting the effort and time. So communication will come in different forms, through your child, your son, through your email and the Google groups, and we'll talk about what that means. Responsibility, coordinating with parents. So as a Scout, you need to coordinate with your parents to say, hey, I need to be here at this time, and put that onus on your parent to say, okay, I will get you there, right? So it is that responsibility. You have to make sure that you do not ask your parent to say, Dad or Mom, what am I supposed to do in this week? That's not what the Scout is about, right? So involvement, again, involvement means engagement, encouraging parents and acquaintances to become merit badge counselors. What does that mean? I'll explain what that means, okay? But just know that merit badges is a very important thing for your Scout, and we'll talk about what that means and how to achieve those, okay? Troop 99 parent commitment, right? This is pretty important for all the parents that are here that are new. On behalf of the parents and Scout leaders, we'd like to thank you for the commitment that you're actually choosing to take, but here are the responsibility that you're also signing up for. There is a welcome letter on the website that you can get without even having credentials to the website, and when you have credentials, it can be found. The welcome letter tells you every single thing that you have to do. I will tell you, I was a new parent. I read that welcome letter. I underestimated what information was relayed in that welcome letter, right? So so it is very important that you read every single line and take actions from that welcome letter, because you will find yourself in an unknown place very quickly if you do not. Our troop plans at least 10 camping events each year. An adult member are required to participate as follows. So you have event sponsorship. That does not mean that you're sponsoring and paying for things. That means that you're the project manager for that particular event, right? So oversee the planning of at least one event and be the go-to adult for SPL, ASPL. Again, those acronyms, that means Scouting Patrol Leader, Assistant Scouting Patrol Leader, okay? And patrol is a smaller group of that troop, right? So drive to and from events, commit to driving to from at least 2 events per year. attend events, actively participate and attend at least one planned event in its entirety and full course of days planned. Finally, this is only possible due to the dedication of troop adult leadership and commitments from parents. If you cannot commit to these, do not sign up for Boy Scouts. If you have any doubts that you're not going to be able to do this, don't sign up. I'm telling you that very plainly, right? More on scouting, parents' responsibility can be found there. There's some more generic things about parents and their responsibilities, but what I told you are the highlights that you can expect, okay? Being prepared. So what does that mean? So scouting uniform shirt, all this is in the welcome letter, by the way. I'm just highlighting some of the things. So scouting uniform shirt with Troop 99 numeral on some patches. By the way, if you have not figured it out, 99 is because of less 99 names. So Boy Scout handbook. There is a handbook that you can buy on Amazon. I think there might be Eman. Boy Scouts only on Amazon, right? The book? Chalkboard also, Boy Scouts. Okay, so chalkboard, if you don't know what that is, I didn't know what chalkboard was. There's a store right across the street next to, in the same row that the Hobby Lobby Sports Authority is, and there's a store called Chalkboard. You can find your uniform shirt, patches, everything that you want to do, you can find out. And this is the scout book that Ammon is holding up. Okay, the troop calendar. I'll show you where the troop calendar can be found. It's on the website. There should be no mystery about what's going on when. Everything is on there. All right, troop created parent informational handout and welcome email. This is when you sign up, you'll get a welcome email from Ammon, but it'll say Troop 99 admin. Basically, it's Ammon doing that. And Boy Scout application forms. Unfortunately, we are still in the era where still forms are being filled out for scouts and parents. So you have to physically fill out a form in pen and submit that to Ammon before you can be officially part of the scouts and a parent of a scout. Assignment to a patrol. Adult application forms, by the way. Assignment to a patrol. Credentials to the Troop 99 website. It's a site that people can browse through without having sign-ons, but once you have a sign-on, you get to see more information, okay? Adult youth protection training required. You'll hear that as YPT, again, an acronym. Don't get thrown off. Ask somebody who says these acronyms to say, what do you mean? What does that mean? There's a required training that you have to take for youth protection training. It's required, or else you cannot be part of an adult associated with a scout. And it's a pretty short training. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is being prepared. Troop 99 website. So this is, it's not the best looking site as I mentioned, but it is a site that exists that has, no, so it is a site that exists. So here's the website. I'm showing that to you right now, right? So for those of you that have not seen it, I'm signed in, but even if I wasn't signed in, I can see some of this information. In fact, most of this here. And it's not going to happen the first time you look at the site. I guarantee you that, right? And so basically about the troop, all the links, I mentioned Three Fire Council, there's a link there, ICN link. Being a scout, what does that mean? Adult, youth, all these forms that you got to fill out, provide your email address, all this stuff that you see is all informational. You'll pass through that by reading it saying, oh yeah, I understand, but you will not get it the first time. I can't tell you enough times to read this over and over again until you get it and take the actions that you need to take. On the sides, you'll see different things that we've done, academy and so on. On the right-hand side, you'll see the merit badges. We'll talk about that. There's a section about Cubs that are currently there and bridging over to Boy Scout. What does that mean? Adult membership requirement. I just went through all this stuff with you in the PowerPoint. BSA forms and documentation, Troop 99 meeting and calendar events. All this stuff is on the front page, right? But you can also see the menu here. I can see home, about the troops, about adult leaders. So if I click on this, I'll see all the leaders that are part of the adults. So the brother Khalid Ghori, he's a scoutmaster. You can see Ayman, his professional picture that he paid somebody for. So assistant scoutmaster. We also have other people here as well. So Salamat, you'll know him. Without him, we don't get any activities coordinated because he's instrumental in that. and we have a treasurer and others as well. So, right, so I just showed you about our troop, download forms, resource links, ICN scouting program, right? All these things are there for your information, and it's up to you to actually go through each one and understand what it's about. My Scouts, my account, online payments. I can pay my dues for Boy Scouts here. There's nothing that you should be mystery. There should be a mystery about. Change my password, right? So upcoming events, sign up for upcoming events. Your son will tell you, by the way, as a parent, you're just signing up for yourself. Your son has to go in there and they'll have their own account and they'll be signing up for that event and saying yes or no or whatever the case is, right? So just know, as a parent, you'll also get emails that are sent over to your sons as well. So I get 3 emails every time I get something because I have 2 sons, right? Because one is for me and the other one's for my son. So it's for me to know, but I shouldn't be supervising what's happening. It's their responsibility to take action, log into the website, take actions, what they need to take. Saying, hey, there's an Indiana Dunes event coming up, mom or dad. Am I gonna be able to go? Once they confer with their mom and dad, they go in there and say, yes, I'm gonna attend, right? Then they say, well, mom, dad, can you drive? We need more drivers. Can you help us do that? Mom will say, or dad will say yes or no. They'll say yes or no. Can you be a driver, right? The parent will get the same email. But I'm just letting you know, it's the scout's responsibility as well as the parent to make sure that coordination takes place, right? It will be a mystery every time there's an event. You guys will be lost. And I'm telling you, all this information is on the website, right? I can see everybody who's on the scout. So here's a troop. Roster, all these active scouts. I can go in here, I can see who are all the active scouts and their information. All these people are active scouts, their emails. I can contact them. I can, all these. So these are active scouts. I can see active adults who are active adults. I can go in there and see all their information as well, right? So some of them have pretty pictures in there. Activities, what's happening? Here's the troop calendar that I mentioned about. So if I go here, you'll see a calendar view and you'll see what's going on. Indiana Dunes happened. If I click on this, you'll actually see all the people that said yes or no. Drivers no, drivers yes. You'll see all the folks that signed up for Indiana Dunes, scouts and adults attending this event. How did this happen? Because you went in there and said yes, right? So this event, what's happening in this event? What is this about? When is it? All this information can be found at the event calendar. So let's talk about what is a event that's coming up next. So today we're sitting here, and this is a Scout Master Conference and a final board review before Court of Honor. We'll talk about what that means, okay? But this is activity listed here, right? So probably you should have listed here the orientation for new parents and new scouts, right? But you got emails and that's why you're here. So again, you'll see all the events listed here. It doesn't automatically happen. There's people actually posting these things like Eamon and others, right? Photo gallery of our previous events. When we meet as an adult once a month, there's a mentoring meeting for adults. We have meeting minutes and agendas that come out of that. So again, so this is for you to browse and try to understand what's on here. There's a lot of information on here, right? And so that was my purpose to make.
One thing before you switch, Asif. So right on the right side of this first page, if you scroll down a little bit, that just a little bit up, the YouTube video right there, it says play on, just a little bit up. Scroll up, there you go. This one. So this one has all the instructions, step-by-step instructions of what information, where is that information on this website. So it's about 12 or 15 different tutorials that are like 5-6 minutes each. You can just go in and play them and understand, because it's very important. Nobody's here, as you can see, we're all volunteers, and we cannot keep doing this over. It's the same thing. So just go and play it and understand what is it that you need to do. And if you have questions, you can always ask.
We'll talk about this more in the next slide as well. So, and we'll go there and show you what's out there. Okay. So going back to the presentation. So this was the site. I just showed you the site. So you must spend, and everything is, these are the keywords, right? So forms, all these forms. Don't get overwhelmed about these forms, right? So here's all the forms that are listed here. camping, all these forms, events, all these forms, sign up with troop, all these forms, troop administration, all these forms, right? So you're like, why is there like 15,000 forms, right? But only focus on the things that you need to focus on. We'll talk about that. So that means adult application to be an adult scout, a parent of a scout. It's the scouting application. An event, there is an event form. There's two types of forms for event, and I'll talk about that. So so this is the entirety of the list. Don't have to know every single form here, but just know that there's forms available and what that means and how to fill them out and how to turn them in, right? So going back to the presentation, what are all these meetings that take place? I don't know. Everybody talks about these meetings taking place. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, right? I was like that too. So it'll be overwhelming. Do not let that overwhelm you. This is the progression of meetings that I just wanted to show in a slide. What that means is there's a weekly scout meeting. I told you about that. 11:30 Sunday, flag ceremony starts, and people say the Pledge of Allegiance. They say the scouting, what is that? Scout law, and they also get together, and then they're given to the scout, the troop leader, to actually govern what needs to happen for that day, right? Scoutmaster Conference. This is this actually is an activity that takes place, which says all the Scoutmaster is Brother Khalid Ghori, right? I told you guys about that. So there's always a Scoutmaster for a troop. So all the scouts have to then meet with a Scoutmaster and their assistant to say, I did this training, I have, so they ask questions to say, okay, what did you do? Do you have the forms to certify that you did that? That's just called a Scoutmaster Conference. It sounds a fancy word. Basically, the Scoutmaster is determining if the scouts did the prerequisites and the training that needs to happen to then move on to the Board of Review, right? So the Board of
and so the Scoutmaster Conference that's going on right now, each scout has this book, and this book remains with them through their journey to becoming an Eagle Scout. And during the Scoutmaster Conference, the Scoutmaster is going to use this book and sign off on each of the requirements that the scout has to go through. And if the Scoutmaster thinks that the requirement is complete, then the next stage is, to what Asif is saying, you go to a Board of Review. And the Board of Review says, okay, let's just ask general questions. And it's more of a social thing, just to getting to know the scout. And then they say, okay, thumbs up, you're ready to go for your award or your advancement or whatever it is. And then they go to the Court of Honor.
Yeah, so the Court of Honor is the next one. So the Court of Honor is actually a we try to make it structured and formal because we want the scouts to feel they have achieved something. So the parents are invited, there's food, there's activities, fun and games. And the Court of Honor happens once every 6 months. 6 months, twice a year. Okay, so what your scout is trying to do is build themselves up with all the skills going through this process to say, Court of Honor, I achieved this rank, or I accomplished this. So the Court of Honor is actually the handout of that. Okay, so that's all it means. Don't get thrown off by all these terminologies. This is just showing you a progression of what's taking place. Your scout probably has a better idea week 2 than you will. And that's what I'm showing you this so you have an idea as well. There's a mandatory meeting for adults for every month, once a month. And we have an agenda. Eamon runs the meeting. We talk about the finances. We talk about the upcoming events, what has occurred. If there's Court of Honor happening, we're going to probably talk about the Court of Honor and so on. And in that meeting, there's also the troop leader will come in and report on the progress of the troop, right? So this is not about parents or Eamon or anybody else trying to supervise or govern anything. The scouts are encouraged to manage themselves. You won't see people yelling at scouts if they're not doing something. You won't see them saying, hey, do this, don't do that. That's not the scout, the school of thought. The school of thought is give the framework for the scouts to be able to self-manage and govern. So that's why you'll see the leaders, the troop, are scouts themselves, right? The assistant leaders, they build up that rank and progression because you recognize through your sons if they want to take the responsibility of being a leader. Encourage them to say, hey, well, what about applying for a patrol leader next time? Okay, then they'll say, well, what does that mean? Well, they'll talk to the scout, other scouts saying, hey, I want to be a patrol leader, because that gives them leadership qualities, it develops the leadership qualities. You want that in life, right? And so that's the progression of the court of honor. I mean, from a weekly meeting to the court of honor, and also the adult monthly meeting. Okay. Any questions on this? All right. What is a merit badge? So you'll hear the term merit badge a lot of times. Don't get thrown off. All it means is I have accomplished something specific, and there's a process that I went through that somebody certified that I accomplished that. That's all it means. So merit badges can be about anything. It can be about building a glass case. It can be about painting. So merit badge counselors are adults that do not have to be affiliated with troops at all or scouting. They can be, I can have my uncle who's a scientist to say, can you become a merit badge counselor? So they say, well, what is that? Then you explain to them, well, you're a scientist and you do something very specific about nuclear technology. I have kids that may want to learn about nuclear technology. Can you spend some time with them? Right? And then they say, yeah, sure. Then they become a merit badge counselor. They're not affiliated with scouting, but basically all merit badge counselor does is opens the door for the scout to say, here's a subject area that I heard you were interested about. I know more. I can tell you more about it. It could be something about basket weaving. It could be something about nuclear technology. It could be something about anything you can think of. It can be almost anything.
There are about 140 or so merit badges that this video that Asif is highlighting here talks about. But with respect to the merit badge counselor, the merit badge counselors themselves have to be registered with Boy Scouts of America. So you have to be registered. You have to go through a process. But it's a great thing for the adults to become a merit badge counselor, because it puts you, it creates a network. Because you've got kids reaching out to you, you've got the scouting folks reaching out to you from the council to ask for your expertise or help out with certain things that you specialize in. So it's a good networking opportunity.
So you as a parent can be a merit badge counselor, right? Yeah. So think about that. So all your scout is doing is saying, I need to achieve a merit badge because I'm interested in it. There's a process that they will be taught how to achieve that merit badge. It is up to them to make sure that they close off that process before they will be recognized as saying, yes, you have achieved this merit badge. And I will tell you right now, my sons, they will start it and it will be there, and I'll ask them, so you shouldn't be that way, but as a parent, I want to know, you started something, are you going to finish it? And there's also, I think once a year, a merit badge university.
Oh yes, that's right.
So if they don't get a chance to do this, there's actually a whole day that they go out to this site. In this case, we were in Elmhurst, I believe. Yeah. Right. We went to Elmhurst College, and the whole college is full of all Boy Scouts, and they're from all over the place. So they're given the opportunity to learn about anything and achieve a merit badge. They can start the process, and they can communicate that with that person that talked about that specific topic, even offline, and they can say they can do that, right? So it's important that you understand the Merit Badge University. All it gives an opportunity in a concentrated way for that scout to achieve the merit badges, because merit badge is the way that you advance. So now I'm tying the dots for you, right? So I'm basically, the merit badge is the way that you advance through the ranks of scouts. You can't just sleepwalk through being a scout and become an Eagle Scout. You have to go through the merit badge process. And so there's a whole YouTube video that I haven't actually recorded saying what is a merit badge, what is the process, and who needs it. As a parent, you need to know this exists, but your scout needs to know more. Just know that. Okay. So anyway, so this is the process that I'm showing you, and it goes through a process flow. So merit badge, just know that. How will I know what's going on? As a parent, you'll leave this room and you'll say, well, I just got through a lot of information. How am I going to keep track of this? What's going to happen? Communication is going to come through many forms. One is your scout is going to tell you something's happening, but by that time you'll know through emails something is happening. And the scouts, every week, the scouts are given weekly information. So they should be talking to you if there's something that you have to get involved in. Email is very important, Do not ignore the emails that are coming. They may be informational, one-way informational, but sometimes they need requirements from you. So say, there's a deadline of 23rd of April, and there's a board of honor and court of honor and board of review coming up, right? So make sure that you're, as a scout, you tell us if you are going to be participating in that, and that means that you're going to be wanting us to evaluate, right? And 23rd is your last day. Well, guess what? The morning of the 23rd, you'll get flurry of emails from parents to say, what is this email? Right? And so I guarantee that will happen. What is this email? What are you talking about? What is BOR? This and that. I'm not pointing out any names, but what I'm saying is it is up to your scout and as a parent to know what that means. And don't wait. If you don't know, when you get an email, what is this? Ask. They'll tell you right away, right? So anyway, so communications will happen in many forms, but it's up to you to understand what's happening. Training, and there's the training. It's really important. Without this, you cannot participate as a parent. Basically, this is the only required training after being going through the form filling out process and being an adult for the scout. And this training actually is through the Boy Scout Association training website. And what you'll get is an ID. You'll get a membership ID. It's called a membership ID. Yeah. So you'll have a membership ID for you as a member for a Boy Scout, as a parent or a scout, and you'll go here and sign up. New to scouting, you'll say create an account. It's no different than you creating your email account, right? So you're going to go through this, and it's got online training for youth protection. Basically, it'll tell you what you have to do as a parent. There's some specific requirement as an adult to associate with Boy Scouts, and you have to take this training. If you don't take it, you cannot be invited to any events.
It takes less than 30 minutes. Is the sign-in different than?
Yeah, this is a Boy Scout, my scouting training overall national stuff. This is not Troop 99.
It's not true. Okay.
No.
So the email, the password we have is for
You create your own account here. This is through affiliated from BSA, and this is nationally done, right, for everybody. And so you create your own account. All you need is your member ID.
Right.
You should be able to create your account because that they will know that's how the process for adult forms is going to happen, right? So Eamon, you're going to turn in your adult form. He's going to submit that to BSA, and they're going to assign a membership ID. Once they assign that, he'll tell you your membership ID.
But my membership ID is what I log into the ICN with as well.
No.
It's different.
Yeah, it's an alphanumeric, like 10 characters.
Yeah.
You haven't received it yet because your form is still being processed. So just to sort of elaborate a little bit more, so as a new parent, you don't have to wait for the BSA ID.
Just go ahead and get the
training. Set up an account, but don't sign in as a guest. Set up an actual account on this.
Okay.
You won't have the BSA ID. Take the training. You'll have a certificate there.
Right.
It'll store it forever.
And then retro.
When you get the BSA, you put that BSA ID in there.
Awesome.
And then it'll link it together. Yeah. Because it's a 45-day to 60-day cycle before you can get all the BSA ID.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that correction, Eamon. So I went through this and this was confusing because I was saying, so your question is very apt. Okay. It's a very good question. So confusing, not because this is complicated, because it was just like, what is this? Why am I signing up for this? I thought Troop 99 will tell me whatever. No, this is just a requirement checklist. Right? That's all. In order to take this training, it's online and you have to just create an account. That's all. Okay.
Other training on there too.
Yeah, so they have other training, but I'm only highlighting the required training, and I'll talk about the other training as well. Some references. So I think we're in the last slide. Basically, I try to get, highlight as a parent when I joined. If I knew this in a one-slide way, I could probably have quicker learning. But I'm just putting all this references for if you were Boy Scout America site, the Troop 99 website, you can get there two ways. There's actually a Troop web host, or you can also have icnmasjid.org/Troop99. Both take you to the same place. YouTube homepage for Troop 99. That's what Eamon was talking about, and I'll show you that. Every YouTube training or informational session that's there, you'll find it there. So this is a YouTube page for Troop 99, and it is all the stuff that how to register for an event. It's right there. What is a scout progression? Forms. All the stuff that I just told you in detail, they're available here. Okay, so social connect, account management, event registration, all these things. So go here, and if you have a question that you don't know, if an email came saying something, see if there's a more detailed information about this. Go learn and then figure that out. Have your scout learn through this as well, right? So next one I wanted to show you is the event sign up. This is also one of the specific YouTube. It's very important. I showed you the website and how you can sign up for an event, but there's a way. It tells you step by step, how do you sign up for an event? There's a YouTube video out there, right? So it takes you through, it's a 5-minute video, less than 5 minutes, but it'll tell you how to do it, how to make payments, review the events. You know, it takes you through a progression of the website. What do you have to do? Click through step by step, okay? So anyway, then there is Google. There's a Google. Don't get too confused. All this is all the emails that you get are also available as a thread on the Google group site. So now if I go here, you'll see that this is the ICN scouting program. It's a Google page, right? And I have all the threads of all the emails that have been happening. Reminder, this and this, right? So you can go here and see who's talking about what. You can discuss on here as well. Every time you send an email or response back, it'll come here, right? So it's another view. It's another window of the stuff that we all are doing. Just know that exists.
Also, you can do it. I use that sometimes as well because I send out so many email messages that I don't want to keep repeating the same thing I said before. I do a search on it. It's very easy because it's Google. It's quick search, and you can resend that to anybody who's looking for that information.
Make sense? All right. So it's nothing. There's no new stuff here. You already have seen it. It's just one place that is consolidated. That's all. Okay. Oh, sorry, not this one. This one is merit badge and rank and advancement. I only showed you the YouTube video on this one. So there is a merit badge specific. That one I encourage you guys to watch. At least have your scouts watch. They should be watching it without you telling them to watch it. I gave you some examples of the Troop 99 welcome. This is the welcome welcome letter that you'll get. When I was telling you, read through it and understand what it's asking of you. It'll tell you every single thing that you have to do, right? So welcome to the Boy Scout of America, this and that. Here's all the links. Here's what you got to do. Fill out these forms for adults and youths. Provide your email address. Attend troop meetings, Boy Scout handbook. All this information is here, right? So you'll read this when you first get it, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it. No, you're not. Read it again, follow the instructions, and actually take the actions, right? So it's important that you do that. You don't have to do it once. That's it. So that's the good part, right? So again, it's a short form. It's a 3-page form, and Emin sends that out when you join, and you just follow this, whatever it tells you. Just go through it, and if you don't understand it, respond back to the Troop 99 email. It'll come to everybody, and somebody will help you, saying, "Oh, yeah, that's what it means. Do this, right?" And so
we have a specific number as well. If anybody main page, the Troop page at the bottom, it's a phone number that you call, and it's linked to all the adults, and it rolls over. So if the first adult doesn't get it, it'll roll over to the next one. So you'll eventually get to somebody who will answer your question.
All right, so merit badge. There's a merit badge. Sorry. So there's a merit badge. No, wrong one. There you go. So the YouTube video that you saw. So if you don't want to watch a video, you can actually look through this. Same thing, right? That's all. Basically, it's repeating itself, right? So then there's a new scout questions. So there's some questions you can take. I'm just putting them on a reference. This is not that you're going to use these forms. I'm just giving you some highlights of the forms that are important. Activity consent form. This is very important. This is what it's going to look like. And I guarantee you the first time you won't get it. Because you'll say, well, I think I already filled this out. But no, this is every single activity you have to fill this out. And I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's an activity form. I give you my example of my son, Ahmad. And this is, you're consenting to an activity. And based on the type of activity, you'll fill out its appropriate form. Some of it is very quick form. If it's an activity like Indiana Dunes they did, this is a bigger form, like part A, B, and C, right? And so this is the simple form. It's 1 page. You sign it, and you say you print it out, and you give it to your scout to say, make sure that you have it ready. Your scout should be asking for it, right? That's the nature of scout. They should be saying, hey, I need you to fill out and sign my activity form, right? And then consent form. This is the bigger consent form. I'm going to show you this one. This is the bigger one. Let me make it bigger. So again, it looks the same thing, and you'll be like, I only did this, right? So no, this is a different one. It's part A, B, and C, because then it gets into not only your consent, but it says, tell me more information about yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? What is your medical history? Do you have any of these problems? Do I need to be concerned about? Do you have any peanut allergies? All that stuff, right? Allergy medication, immunization, all these things, right? So this is a bigger form, right? Don't get overwhelmed by it. You're just going to do it per activity. Once you have it saved that you already did it, just use that form for the next activity, right? So it's not that big of a deal. Once you finish the certification of youth protection training, I took a picture of that, what I got as a certification, just for my record, and I just have it here, right? So this is what it looks like. I just took a picture to make sure I can submit it to Emmett to say, hey, I did it, right?
And it's valid for 2 years. So.
Yeah, 2 years. Every 2 years you have to take it. So that's all the presentation we had. We're open for questions, comments. A lot of information I just relayed to you, right? And you will not get it the first time, and it's okay. But we wanted to create an orientation deck, a presentation that kind of gives you a reminder. If you forget something, just go here, and it'll remind you what happened, and you can reference it, right?
We'll post it on the website.
Yeah, we'll post it.
Yeah, we posted them. So once you folks give us your email and your name, your phone number, we'll also send this over.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit big because of the attachments. We can take out the attachments if you want. But yeah, well, that's fair. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much what I know there was a lot of information that we just told you, right? But it'll become.
Yeah, are all changes mandatory for the staff?
No.
Or any number of field trips they need to attend, or?
Are all field trip mandatory, and is there a number of
they're
number
not
of events?
mandatory, but I think it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to get through these rank advancements, there's specific requirements for those advancements. So the book that I was showing you, it has specific requirements in the back. So when you join, you will be assigned, your son will be assigned a patrol, and they'll work with the patrol leader to understand what is it that they need to do. Okay. And as they're going through, they'll say, okay, you have to have 2 nights for the rank advancement. You need to have, I'm just throwing it up, 2 nights that you need to have.
In a year, right? Like to move forward.
Yes, exactly. So it would be based on whichever your advancement requirement is. It'll tell you you need maybe 2 nights camp out. Just for fun, you can do that as well. You may have met your requirements, but you may just want to go out as a fun trip as well.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I say this. I think I can safely say this. There's nothing mandatory in any activity in the Boy Scout.
There is something mandatory.
Well, adult youth protection training, right? Sorry. So there's no activity that is mandatory for parents or scouts, but all depends on what you want your engagement to be, what your scout wants to be, how fast they want to learn and go through the progression of the advancements that they want to do, right? The opportunity is going to be there, but it's really up to you and your scout that's going to take place. So from that perspective, the events.
Yeah, as long as, so if your son is going for an event, try to make sure that you as a parent at least support 1 event in a year, because we have 10 events that we do. So we require that at least the parents, they attend 1 event or support 1 event, whether you are a sponsor for that event or you are actually going out sponsored. There's some explanation of all that's available. but you have to be, as a parent, participating as a sponsor of the event, or you actually are at the event, or you're actually driving people to the event or bringing them back from the event. So we just want participation from the parents.
Driving people in the sense like in a car ride can.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
So they
Or if you can't drive, you want to bring them back, yeah, you sign up for that. I'll bring them back.
Yeah.
Or if I want to stay there, because we need to have a ratio. When we go out for these events, we have a specific ratio of how many kids to an adult. And if we are unable to make that, because when we cancel those events. So it's very important for and it doesn't look good for the kids because they want to have fun and the parents are not getting involved and you have to cancel it the last minute. So
that has happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know that, right?
It's for the safety of the kids. We just cancel it.
Events are organized on the weekends or they're
weekends.
Friday through Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Except for the summer camp, which this time we won't go because of Ramadan. But typically when we go for the summer camp, it's usually outside the state, and it's a week-long thing. So.
Why don't you do it at the Cough camp?
You have to explain to me what.
Let him be a sponsor. Hey, he's signing up for being a sponsor.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Well, I do have another question, but it's slightly off topic. I don't know if you can help me with the master training. What is involved with that?
What do you mean,
Scout master training?
Yeah. So Scout.
When is it coming up? How do you sign up?
Did you still have?
I still haven't gotten that email. I have to.
You forwarded that email. Then Khalid forwarded it to everybody. Did you get the email from Khalid? Oh.
There's no link on it. There's just saying that the days, and that's all it says.
No. Basically, so if you this is going to be a pet peeve of mine, and you'll hear me say this, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. So if you go to this, our Troop 99 website, I will. This is, I admit to you that this is not deciphered in all the terminology is the same. But if you see here, you'll see Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills for Boy Scout Part 2 and Part 1. Okay. Everything you want to know is here. Right?
Go ahead, click on
so if I go here, so if I go here, I can say this is I'm going to do this, and if so, registration only online. Click here. I click there, and it will take me to the Three Fire Council in terms of what's happening and when it's happening.
So my question is, how do I know when is the next one? If I can't make this one,
you should go to the Three Fire Council one.
We will inform you, Brother Harif. We'll inform you that when the next training is coming up.
So here's the thing. I mean, those information is not on the calendar or anything like that.
Not right now.
I can say, well, you know what, I can wait 3 months. Or is it 6 months later?
It's there. It's here.
It may not have been posted yet.
Yeah. So it may be there. So for example, when I was asked, so the way that I signed up was Khalid said, hey, I think you should become a brown shirt and try to get some of the training under your belt so you can help me, right? So I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. So tell me what I got to do. He said, take the leadership training 1 and 2, right? So I said, okay, we're like, figure that out. Then he posted it on the website, right? But for me to associate that with a Scoutmaster training, there's no such thing called a Scoutmaster training, I believe. There's many things that happen that can lead you to a, right? So that's, now you just got what I got.
Yeah, it's just a different terminology.
Yeah, it is.
There's one clarification. So it doesn't say Scout Master Training, it says Outdoor Skills Training, but it's targeted to folks who want to become an Assistant Scoutmaster, Scoutmaster. And once you do become, they go through this training and you're successful, you're going to get this badge. And you get this badge. It says you are qualified for as an Assistant Scoutmaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like saying if Ramis came and says he wants to be an Eagle Scout, I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
That one is,
And I have to ask, if I'm not a computer person, man, I don't see emails all day. It's just when I sit down, and so I see a barrage of emails, like, okay, it all says 99 group. Which one should I open? Yeah. You know, it's overwhelming.
It is.
At some point, I guess I have just one kind of comment or feedback. And again, on parents' request, we have gone back and forth. And I've seen both physically when actually before I started or joined the group, they were using this Yahoo group or Gmail group. Then because there were a lot of emails coming, they went back to the board.
The Troop 99 email.
And then the drawback was basically that you have to log in and check basically. But I kind of agree, and this is not only me, most of the parents are in this situation where we get a lot of emails. Is there any way we could, like, if anybody send an email, it should not go to everybody, because that's kind of too much.
So what
And
you do,
that
here,
would,
look
then
at
we
this.
end up missing
You can set up, you can go, so there are two ways to
options,
email.
yeah.
One is through the website, you log in, right? And I don't think you get many emails from that. Where you get a lot of emails is from the Google group,
Individuals,
which is
yeah.
an email address itself, troop99@icnmasjid.org.
Those get forwarded to
Those get back and forth, but you can adjust that. You can go into that Google, when you receive the next email,
Right.
scroll down all the way and select, don't unsubscribe, but select management, account management or something. And they'll take you to Google Group and say, I want to, then set this frequency. Say, I want to receive an email every day, end of the day, once. So it'll send you only one email, summarize everything for you.
Okay.
Or you can say, I want to get email on once a week. I don't think you should do that, because then you will be out of
You're
sync.
missing out.
Okay, so, but I will comment on one thing, Harun. So one of the things that you said, you get barrage of emails. The thread may be a lot of emails, but the topic remains the same mostly. So you're not going to get 15 different subjects emails on the same day, same week, same month.
I mean, like,
right?
for the last week, I think I got like 5 emails saying urgent, 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 and I've replied to
No,
them.
but they're all part of the same string, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the subject line, it says BOR COH coming up. If you already saw the first initial email, you're already squared away.
Yeah.
You can ignore the other ones,
Okay.
right? Because all they're doing is saying, oh, I have a question on this. Can you somebody help me? If you only know what the first email was about, you know the subject line, and everything else is a thread, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, because
basically it's a
I'm
thread.
used with where Yahoo it just puts it in one, and then the replies are under.
Yeah, but if you know it's the same subject being somebody else is asking the same question, or they have more specific, I only know this, then it's a quick, on your, especially on your smartphone, you can just delete it, right? So whatever, right? So it's, I don't think there's a barrage of new topics that are coming out.
No, it's just
Yeah.
it's the emails.
Yeah, you can.
That you'll be able to eliminate if you just say once a day.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that as well. Kind of go to the Google groups and adjust it probably. That might help.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody here?
What is the highest rank ICN Scout has reached so far?
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. We have 2?
Yeah, and we are getting, we are very soon going to have another 2.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Then for payments, everything's
Everything, you'll get an invoice. So like you went to Indiana Dunes?
Yeah.
You should have received, I know Tahir is our treasurer.
Okay.
So he would go in the back end and he will bill everybody, and you'll get an alert.
So here, I'll show you my stuff, my account, right? So I can see all the stuff that I've gone through.
Has he billed you yet? Do you know? Indiana Dunes?
I don't know. So I have account 0 balance. Do you see that?
Yeah. That's
Right?
lucky for you.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so if you have a balance here, then you need to pay it, and you can pay it through here.
Pay through
Through PayPal or
Chase
Chase Quick Pay, Pop Money, whatever.
Chase
right?
Quick Pay. We can't take Pop Money.
You can't?
Yeah, Quick Pay don't allow. We don't allow.
What about PayPal? Is it?
PayPal, there's a fee. It's up to you. It's like a very small amount.
Chase Quick is
50 cents, yeah, or something.
Okay, so that's the best way to yeah.
Okay, so let me give an example. I was the sponsor for Turkey Camp Out, right? So Turkey Camp Out. So you'll see that I submitted these expenses, and the treasurer paid me back, or whatever the case is. So sponsor, all I did was, I didn't do the whole thing. I became the project manager, and there were some other sponsors too, right? So I said, Asif, you're going to be a sponsor for Turkey Camp Out. So that way the burden is not on volunteers all the time. Khalid, Ayman, whatever. Ayman, I don't think you even went to the Turkey Camp Out. So
Is there like a checklist that you guys follow?
yeah, we create our own checklist. So we say, hey, so that's what the adult meeting is about, right? So adult meeting will say, what is our objective in Turkey Camp Out? Where are we going to stay? So if I'm the sponsor, I'll assign different tasks to different people. Like Farhan had my grocery shopping. I think you did some things. So, but I become the one person that's a sponsor. That's all. That's all it means, right? Yeah. So basically, that's all the sponsor does. The Turkey Camp Out was a big successful event, by the way, and your kids should really go to that. But anyway, so that's just your account. You can see it from here.
Anything else?
There are any penalties or for the scouts if they are unable to make it?
No.
Assigned tasks or anything? Nothing.
No penalties. You said?
Yeah, anything penalty or?
No. We thought about. I'll tell you what we did think about. We thought about if.
Army response.
Huh?
Hasim was from the U.S. Army before.
Right. So we did. So we did think about if you're coming late to the weekly scout meeting, which means the flag ceremony has started and you're just moseying on in and you're talking to your buddies and there's people inside, that is disrespectful, right? And so sometimes it's okay, but we said, okay, if you're gonna do that, then we talked about, hey, should we ask something? But we never implemented something like that. But just keep that in mind, right? So it is pretty annoying when you have 3 people doing the flag ceremony, yet we know there's 40 scouts.
Yeah, I think it's not that much of a, in this case, not penalty. In the penalty case, if you're using it broadly, where let's say you signed up for an event and you're the last minute say I can't go for that event, you will still bill you because you already paid for it. So if you think that is a penalty, then there would be the case, unless you have a legitimate reason, I'm sick or something like that, right? So that would be one case. But then the other case is just in terms of behavior of the scouts. So this is, again, it's a character building program. It's for leadership. And sometimes when you join initially, people are not used to, this way of doing things. And they may not know all the policies and all that. So we give breaks there. So a scoutmaster, Khalid, if there was an issue amongst the scouts, the scout leader, the patrol leader, he's going to let the senior patrol leader know, who's also a scout. And then they will discuss among themselves what the behavior issue, and then try to resolve it amongst themselves, because it's a boy-led troop. It's adults don't get involved. Now, if the scout continues to misbehave and disrupt the troop, at that point, the patrol leader, sorry,